Hello and welcome. And I'm delighted to be joined by Chris Quinn, Managing Director of Octane Construction. Thank you for joining me, Chris, today.
You're welcome, Ross. Thanks for
It's
having me.
it's a pleasure. I know that Octane Construction are leading the way in embracing the idea of speaking out about domestic abuse and the workplace. So I just wanted to ask you a few questions about that and just have a chat about that.
Yeah, fine.
You were one of the first to sign up to the business charter on domestic abuse and to have the workshop to help facilitate to help implement that into your business.
hmm
Can you just share why you decided to do that and yeah, what made you do that?
Well, a couple of things. I think one is obviously we work in quite a male-dominated industry,
Yeah.
and I think that being part of the industry now for a number of years, it's always been quite an aggressive industry and quite an industry where I feel that over the last 5 to 10 years, you've seen the impact of probably mental health issues with men and the pressure of that. And I think also opening up now that we work with a number of females as well as men now, I think that there needs to be a more understanding of the world that we live in. And I think that the reason we signed up to the domestic charter is that we've had people here that have been suffering from that. And I think it's something that I personally believe is something that is happens in the workplace as well. I don't
Yeah,
necessarily just think it's at home and that. And I think particularly in our industry, it needs to be highlighted more. I
yeah,
definitely do.
yeah.
The years of the bombastic managerial parent to child way that this industry has always been needs to change, and it's something that I'm a massive advocate for.
Fantastic. And it's the TUC have apparently said that they believe that more business, well, every business should have a domestic abuse policy in place,
Mhm.
and yet only 5% do. So one of the pledges of the charter is that you have to implement a domestic abuse policy. So how has that gone down with your people, Chris?
I think it's gone down well. I think even we've had a couple of new starters that we've told them about the charter and
Yeah,
why we're doing it and what we're doing it. And operate a policy, I think, where we make sure that staff, as well as having sort of job chats and things like that, that you bring into that openness that they feel that if there is issues, whether that's at home or in the workplace, they feel open enough to say it. And we've sort of got a couple of champions, if that makes sense
yeah,
now. We've
yeah.
sort of highlighted a few staff that if people are struggling and they feel more comfortable, rather than coming to a director, that they can operate and speak to someone sort of more on their level,
Yeah.
and highlight it that way.
Yeah, fabulous. And have you, I don't know if you've actually, you said that, you are aware of certain cases amongst your team, but have you noticed that maybe somebody's performance has changed at work and then it's turned out that it is to do with this kind of stuff going on at
Um,
home?
yeah, I think in the past, that's been a case where doing the workshop really did open my eyes when
Yeah,
you talked about performance and I never really thought of it like that. And one of the things that sort of I encourage our staff is to be open, but
yeah,
also if you're not feeling that way out for whatever reason, just make sure if you want to come in a bit later, you want to leave a
yeah,
bit earlier and open, just be open. And I'm key that because I'm a big believer in 9 times out of 10 factors that affecting people's performance are nothing to do with the job. It's
yeah,
probably external factors.
yeah.
So I'm quite open to seeing that really.
Yeah. And have you noticed a change in culture or I guess if you're in the middle of it, you might not notice the difference it's making on people in terms of their energy, their mood, the way they are with each other.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the mantra that we have here is sort of team before self, and it always has been. So we always sort of put a great emphasis on making sure that people feel valued and involved. I think actually signing up to the charter and actually being part of it now, it's people are quite like staff have been quite pleased that we've
Yeah.
done this and not just signed up for. the mainstream sort of
Yeah,
charities that people do, if I'm being blunt, just to
yeah,
tick a box with their social corporate. Do something that matters. Do something that, as a business, you can change people as well and make people feel valued.
yeah. I think it's a real credit to you actually, Chris, and congratulations to you. And I guess you could possibly even use it as a recruitment tool, really. It's, like it really
Yeah,
makes you stand out as a business
yeah,
that cares.
yeah. And I think, like I rightly said, but yes, everything in business is about performance and making money. But the way that I think you need to do that is have a team that's as effective as possible.
Yeah,
So having that team to be effective as possible and giving people the opportunities to make sure that they can speak out
yeah,
will undoubtedly mean you get better production. And
yeah,
that's how I try to sort of lead and manage a team rather than, like I say, I've been in that industry where you've had that bombastic guy that can come in, absolutely rip strips off you, and you just sit there and just feel useless. And
yeah,
it's sad really, but that's where we're trying to change, and we'd like to feel that we can be different, and our next journey of part of this is to make our clients' team see it as well.
yes,
Let them be visible that way, and hopefully then that they sit there and go, you know what, we want to be part of that as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I love that, like the ripple effect,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's how
definitely,
it works, isn't it?
definitely.
Well, it's fantastic. And also, I'm super grateful to Octane Construction for sponsoring our speaking out event on October the 23rd
Yeah.
in Scarborough. So thank you so much for that. I guess why, well, you probably explained it, but I'm going to ask the question again. So I
Mm.
want to ask it directly is why is the event important to you? And what would you say to anyone listening who's wondering what's in it for them to come along to this event?
Again, I think it's one of the reasons it's important to us and the team is that, it's something that needs to be seen and needs to be understood. Like I said earlier, the domestic abuse, it doesn't just mean at home, but the workplace environment as well.
Yeah,
And it's getting that message out, like I say, to make people feel valued and comfortable. And if people are sat there wondering if you should turn up, and definitely, especially in our industry where we are, I think, going through a really difficult stage of attracting people to come and work in the industry.
yeah,
Particularly, you saw well, you might not, but the events of last week, one of the largest construction businesses in the
yes,
UK going into administration, they'll have another ripple effect with people sat there going, do I need to? So the more enticing we can make this industry and things like this and making the workplace a really fun, happy, vibrant environment where people
yeah,
think they can, is only going to help us get these people to come to join the industry.
yeah,
It's like I say, I think it has a little bit of a bad reputation, the construction industry, to being a bit stiff upper lip and hard nosed when it doesn't need to be like that.
yeah. Well done for you for making these changes. And
Hopefully.
and the ripple effect will be immense.
Mm.
Um, and I think also, I know it's particularly significant for for, that you've highlighted for the construction industry, but when you think about the statistics, like they say 1 in 3 women, 1 in 6 or 7 men, but possibly more because it goes largely unreported,
Yeah.
that everybody with more than 3 people in the team, like really needs to take notice of this, don't they? Because it's not just showing up with a black eye at work. It's all the other insidious, like coercive
Mm.
control and psychological abuse that goes on that really we might not know about. We might not even know that we are experiencing it. But coming to this event and listening to our speakers, that's what I'm hoping that we can encourage people to do.
Yeah, definitely. And but like I say, there'll be people out there with a lot more expertise and understanding. But it is key, and it is I personally think particularly when we did that workshop, I didn't appreciate, like you just said, some of the events, and particularly with men, how widespread it is,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and like I say, it needs to be brought under control.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for the part that you're playing in this, Chris. It's just immense, and I'm super grateful.
No, you're welcome, Ross. Thank
Thank
you.
you.